Morning everyone. Welcome back to another tutorial. Today we know that history means the study of past, and this chapter from history today we are going to study how, when and where. How means the manner of which the thing occurred, when means the time when it occurred, and where means the place it occurred. How, when and where. How important are dates? How do we periodize? How do we know? How important are dates? There was a time when historians are fascinated with dates. There were mainly heated debates about the dates on which rulers are crowned. Which dates? We choose a set of dates as important. A set of new dates appear significant. The rule of each Governor-General was important. These histories began with the rule of first Governor-General Warren Hastings and ended with the last Viceroy, Lord Mountbatten. Warren Hastings became the first Governor-General in 1773. The dates of other generals: Hastings, Wellesley, Bentinck, Dalhousie, Canning, Lawrence. It was seemingly never-ending succession of Governor-Generals and Viceroys. All the dates in these personalities to their activities, policies, and achievements. The chronology of their lives marked different chapters of the history of India. We write a history or a story, we divide it into chapters. Why do we do so? It is to tell a story in a way that makes some sense and can be followed. In the histories that revolve around the life of British Governor-Generals, the activities of Indians simply do not fit. They have no space. We need another format for our history. The old dates no longer have their significance they had earlier. A new set of dates will become more important for us to know. How do we periodize? In 1817, James Mill, a Scottish economist and a political philosopher, published a massive 3-volume A History of British India. Indian history into 3 periods: Hindu, Muslim, and British. This periodization came to be widely accepted. We try and divide history into different periods. Why do we do so? Its essential features as they appear to us. The terms we can periodize demonstrate the difference between periods become important. They reflect our ideas about the past, the significance of the change from one period to next. James Mill that thought that all Asian societies were at a lower level of civilization than Europe. Hindu and Muslim despots ruled the country. Religious intolerance, caste taboos, superstitious practices dominated social life. How historians divided Indian history. Moving away from British classification, historians have usually divided Indian history into ancient, medieval, and modern. The division has its problems. The modern period was associated with the growth to all forces of modernity: science, reason, democracy, liberty, and equality. Medieval was a term used to describe a society. These features of modern society did not exist. Many historians therefore refer to this period as colonial. What is colonial? The British came to conquer the country and establish their rule, subjugating local Nawabs and Rajas. British control over economy and society, collected revenue to meet all their expenses, produced crops they need for export. The subjugation of one country by another leads to these kinds of political, economic, social, and cultural changes. This process is known as colonialization. How do we know? Administration produces records, surveys become important, What official records do not tell? What sources do historians use in writing about the last 250 years of Indian history? Administration produces records. One important source is the official records of the British administration. Every instruction, plan, policy decision, agreement, investigation had to be clearly written up. The British also felt that all documents and letters needed to be carefully preserved. The village Tahsildar's office, the collectorate, the commissioner's office, the provincial secretaries, the law courts, all had their record rooms. Surveys become important. The practice of surveying also became common under the colonial administration. The British believed that a country had to be properly known before it could be effectively administrated. The effort was to know the topography, the soil quality, the flora, the fauna, the local history, and the cropping pattern. All the facts seen as to know as about the demonstrated region. There were many surveys: botanical surveys, geological surveys, archaeological surveys, anthropological surveys. Census operation was held after every 10 years. What official records do not tell? This vast corpus of records we can get to know a lot. We must remember that these are official records. They tell us what official thoughts. But what about the thoughts of villagers? They did not contain their thoughts. What the officials were interested in and what they wished to preserve for posterity. We have diaries of people, accounts of pilgrims and travelers, autobiographies of important personalities, and popular booklets that were sold in the local bazaars. The Indian history was experienced and lived by the tribals and peasants. Thank you.